Astra400. We're going to be doing pretty much a, I guess, semi-restoration on this. Going to go back blue and everything, kind of like what I did on the FIE revolver. You can see it looks like it's had some type of worm or something eating on the grips. We're going to put new grips on, blast it down, re-blue it. It'll look real good when we're done with it. This is a 9mm, but it will shoot a number of different chamberings, and in the annotations I'll put down all the different chamberings of 9mm. This actually will chamber and fire. Pull the magazine out, set it to the side. Now, pull the little racket, and you're going to take the barrel and you're going to rotate it. I don't know if you can see down in there, you see the ramp and everything. We're going to rotate this barrel until the ramp actually engages the slide and disengages the frame. Just like that. Now we'll re-rack, and it should all slide right off the front. There we go. What I did was, once it came so far, I twisted the barrel back down again, and it allowed it to go. That's where the lugs of the barrel engage at. You can see here, this thing's got full length rails, but they're on the inside. Now we'll set that aside. Get your barrel out. See this barrel retaining ring here on the outside? The barrel's on the inside. You've got this collar. You can use a magazine, whatever works for you. I'm going to use this piece of polymer. And you want to push down on the edge there. Get it flush, and then you're going to take this knurled ring and spin it. Now remember, this is going to be under pressure. Looking at the camera. Alright, so anyways. That's how that actually will fit in there. Fits down in there and twists and holds it in. Show you that again. You pull the barrel out to there, get your lugs in. If you have problems with it wanting to get locked up a little, just spin it some. It'll come straight out. To get your firing pin group out, let me turn this the right way. Right here is our slide. Very nice. Back right here, you'll see some clips. They have to be pried out. pries out, and that will pry out. Pulling that out allowed that to fly out. Basically your firing pin, or at least the striker. That one was in there pretty tight. That's what holds the extractor in. So it's a pivot point for the extractor. Spring in there. Extractor was like that. You had a spring there. That was right there. So their pin aligns in the notch there to hold basically your striker in there. You should still have the firing pin down in here. Firing pin. show you. You see the difference in length there. Striker. I'm sorry. This is your extractor. It's a short one, and the striker pin is a long one. Sights are built in. Nothing else comes off. I like to go ahead and, before I completely remove a screw, like say from right here, I like to go ahead and loosen all of the screws that are holding something down. And part of that, and a good bit of that, is because on things that have a good bit of torque on them, you can have, say, one screw that was maybe out on a little edge to hold that one edge down. And if you loosen all the other ones up and leave that one screw in, well, if it has pressure on it, the whole plate or whatever can tip up, and you can end up bending or cracking things because you have the last one left tight, or the last two or something. You can crack something. So it's a good idea just to, in an alternating pattern, if you got more than 2 bolts in there or screws, to just bust them loose a little bit, just a little bit, just relieve that initial tension, and then go back through and undo them the rest of the way. And I'm listening to right now, my headphones, Michael Bain's Downrange Radio podcast. I'm going to throw a plug out here for that. I don't know if any of you guys, you got your smartphones or whatever. I use the Stitcher application for podcasting, and let's see here. Stitcher, it's a great app, it's free, and it allows you to get all different types of gun programming. All these are different gun show programming stuff. All kinds of stuff. Reloading Radio is a great one. Jim Fleming, he's a good friend. He does that one. There's just Gunfighter Cast, Gunsmithing Radio, Fred Zeglin. There's just a lot of good programming. You've got some NRA stuff. You got Downrange Radio right there. Michael Bain. He's the one that's responsible for producing and directing and everything. A lot of your shows, like Rapid Fire and everything on Outdoor Channel that has to do with guns. It's pretty much Michael Bain involved. So, highly recommend that. Have our retention in there. I'm going to have it turned just like it is in its rest position. Now, if you can see just underneath the brass pin there, there's a detent down in there. coming up through that hole. What I'm going to do is put something up against there so it's caught. Prying this up and out. That clip held that in, come straight up. Now this pin is also the pin for your hammer. Before I remove that, I'm going to remove the pins for our hammer spring. Maybe a dummy there. I might have to come through the other way. There we go. That is under pressure. Pushing down. Pin. That spring actually came down through there. You can see underneath this retention loop there was a little pinhole there, and that is just going to allow you to get right in there with something and push that down through there. No tension on it. That'll come right out. Ball socket there. This is on your bottom. That's your top. Pull this out. camera up, pull. That's what goes down into that socket on the top of the mainspring. I'm going to check and see how hard this little pin is to drive out. It may be swedged in there, and if it is, I'm not going to bother with trying to knock it out because I can clean within there very easily. It appears to be swedged in there pretty, yeah, it's swedged in. We're going to leave that alone. Ultrasonic will clean that up real good. Okay, now we have the trigger bar. I'll show you what's going on there. See right there, you have a safety piece there and a spring in there. Pull the trigger bar down, release some of that tension. Pin out, trigger pin. Let me shut that off. Knock that pin through. You pull down the trigger a little bit, just a little, and wiggle that pin the rest of the way out. Go ahead and get this pin out as well. It's in there just like that. I'm holding it by a spring. Boy, are you in there? Just got so much gunk and stuff in there. There's got to be a trick to this. I assume that I got to get the trigger bar undone, but I cannot get the trigger out far enough to get the pin knocked out. See if I can get slide this out. I pried from the bottom just a little bit to get that down. Makes things a little more difficult when I'm trying to hold it so you guys can see. Now, that was in there just like that. Boy, this is an old gunky one, that's for sure. Had to pull. It just gunked in there. We are spring loaded here. That trigger appears to be swedged pretty good. That trigger and trigger bar. I may be leaving it alone, at least for now, until I get it cleaned up a little more. Oh, no. We're going to have a spring and a detent down in the bottom of the trigger. So whenever you remove this pin and everything, you're going to want to have that down. Trigger's upside down, it's coming out of the bottom. It's trigger, that was down in the bottom. It's a good idea when you're cleaning, go ahead and get all. Get everything torn apart. Now something that on most of these newer firearms and stuff, I don't do this because I know them so well. But on this one, I'm going to count the number of parts that go into my ultrasonic cleaner, and That way I can make sure that that many parts come back out. Back strap here has a little leaf spring in it. Got a little deep little latch there. Because on some of the stuff, you never know. It may be designed only to come out one way, or to punch through one way. You see how easily I'm tapping on this. Sometimes if you got a pin going through something, it'll only come out if whatever it's going through is in a certain position. So you run the risk of damaging it that way as well. That one took a little bit more force, but I made sure it was okay before I did it. Lots of little pins on this one. Video's not taking up as much time. Yep, I'm gonna leave that alone and ultrasonic clean it. Sometimes you just gotta circle your wagons. So anyways, we're gonna be putting new grips on this, so I'm not gonna worry about what I usually do with keeping all the right screws and everything in the right places and all that. Not for that. So anyways, this is it. It's gonna go in the ultrasonic cleaner. After that, it's gonna get blasted, stripped down, everything re-blued, phosphorus coated. It'll get frog lube, new grips, and it's going to go back together. Thanks for watching. This is a little trick that I've learned about the ultrasonic cleaner. I made a little tray here with super small parts. This is actually carbide insert holder, middle or leg. But there's all different kinds. There's larger ones, all different kinds. You can find any kind of little tray or whatever. Now drill some holes in the bottom of it. I can slide that over. And that way I've got an actual tray that I can keep my super small parts in. And they can still get the solid in there and get the ultrasonic action. The ultrasonic heat and everything, it'll get this thing out. I may have to open this up if they're really dirty like these are, and exchange the fluid in there, let out any of the solids and stuff that's gotten in there, put the lid back on it again, and put it back in again. This gun's so dirty, I'm probably going to put it all in the old solvent that's in my ultrasonic cleaner right now. Let it run, scrub it a little bit, then I'll pull it all out and I'll end up putting new solvent cleaner in there and clean this again that way. Because even though I'm going to blast it all, if you do get a blaster, you do run a blaster. on doing any coatings, paints, anything like that, you're going to use that blaster for blasting parts. You want to try and minimize any of your hydrocarbons, greases, solvents, oils, silicones, anything like that that you introduce to your media. And like what I do, I've got used media and then new media. If it's going to be coated, I would use only new media. It's not recycled media or something that's going to be coated. That's going to be gluing's different. But even then, you're still going to have residual aggregate and stuff in your lines. No matter what you do, you're going to have some left in there. So you're better off trying to keep as much filth and dirt out of your blasters as possible. Thanks for watching.